Good afternoon. Hope everyone's okay. Just make sure we're broadcasting and then we can get up and going. Nearly had a decent lay of Liverpool 2-0 up. It was a Merseyside derby, well worth taking them on at 1.07, but just couldn't labour to that second goal, could they, Everton? What a pity. One goal in, it wins for Liverpool. So hopefully you can see and hear me okay. So if you can, just sign in. A quick hello, just to make sure everything's running. We can get up and running. So I'll wait to hear from somebody. This was a bit unlucky. I put a lay in at 109, 106 for that late lay of the draw, and Birmingham got the late winner. Now, the reason I got involved with this, if you add up the XGs, well, the game is gone. What a pity. They added up to about 3. Now, I don't know if that's a decent way of looking for a late goal. For example, this match, creating good opportunities. Hello, Gordon. Hello, Stephen. Nice to see you. So take it everything's running okay. Good stuff. 3-0 for Orebro. So that's an early away lead. An odds-on favourite? No, not really. They would have turned up there. Osnabrück and Erzgebirge. This is the German Dry League, so I think we can ignore those. Might keep Ingolstadt up. Familiar name. Get rid of Birmingham. How late was that? Must have been just near my 1.09. No, I was so unlucky. That must have been 1.11 or something. Oh, could have done with that. An extra 30 quid. So it's warming up nicely. Bundesliga, we're going to expect our usual goals from Werder Bremen and Hoffenheim. I just want to pass on some of the 3.5 goal ideas, or some of the betting testing lab ideas, which you might find interesting. I only mention it at odds of 1.6 and lower. What I'm noting is with this one, sorry, what I'm noting is the avoidance of the draw. So this is the lowest draw odds of the day, but it can produce quite a good selection of laying the draw. I'm keeping an eye on the scoreline as well. If we get a 1-0, for example, and you've laid the draw. So being contrary and getting the shortest odds of the day might work out as a lay the draw. I'm using it to check out whether we've got a 0-0 system using Fibonacci. So I'll be updating you on all of that. And this is the 2.5 goals, 1.6 odds or lower. So I'm looking for patterns with this one. I don't see any ultra strong patterns. I'm looking also for goals after the 20th minute, because that could give us our angle in for value, couldn't it? Noticed a lot of 3.5 goal matches. I've had a few ends recently, but you see this run here. It's very good for over 3.5 goals. So something for us to think about. I'll be passing all that on to you, but let's get on. Hello to Michael. What stakes for a £500 bank? Well, Michael, if you're going to be ultra safe, do what the financial advisors say, and 5%, which would be 500 divided by 250, and then that would be £25. Where my stake is 40, yours would be 25, and that would keep you alive, keep your bank alive, and then as a proportion of that 25 for all of the other riskier plays, with the lower liability plays. So that's your straight, or you can divide by 10 and use it £50 standard, but 5% of the bank will keep you alive for a very long time. So I just do a standard stake that I'm comfortable with. I think that's as fits the match. So I had some bigger stakes last week using in-play stats, emphatic matches, Man City, for example, against 10-man Napoli, for that kind of thing, you would have to go the match odds market or a correct score. But my stake would have increased then to maybe double or triple, trying to get that win or that odds move on a short price favourite. So 5% of your bank, I think, would be better. So that's 25 quid for you. And then use a rolling bank. So as it increases to 600, that'll be 30. And then you'll use the power of compounding. Once you get comfortable, you'll be able to find the higher strike rate ones, which will keep the bank moving nicely. So let's just take a look. You can see while I was interested in Bastia for that 2-0 lay, look at all of this momentum. 4 shots on 10 off and 8 corners, just not crossing the line. So it's a low odds lay for a reason, 2-0 up. But you can see why I did it. Look at the expected goals. I'm getting used to reading XG now, but I'm still not 100% with it. And the reports I'm doing for you do include the expected goals. So, for example, in this match, add the two together, it's about 1.4. So we've got a 0-0. So if that's 0-0 at half time, they're creating high enough quality chances for us to lay the 0-0 second half. That's Birmingham and Swansea. You saw they were hitting 1.83, both of them, and 1.9 for expected goals at 0-0. So that suggests they're creating chances but not converting. So I'm still getting used to it, but it could be a really good addition to try to figure out the next move. So I hope you're all okay. And hi, Michael. Nice to see you as well. Chelsea Ipswich under 21 game not listed on Betfair. Over 2.5 goals. Yeah, if it's not listed, Michael, can't be traded, and just watch out for liquidity in that particular market. So these are the matches of interest at the moment. Venezia and Cesena precisely for that XG indicator. We'll see whether I'm accurate or not with this, because it doesn't seem to change. There will be periods of the game where they don't create chances, so I'm not sure how that precisely works. Malmo were dominating early on against Djurgården, who are hitting a bit of form. I will have to do some research on that one. So let me bring up my old pal here, Malmo and Djurgården. And this was the scenario for Birmingham Swansea at half time. Just to give you an idea, both teams to score over 1.5 goals, not a draw. So they got the not a draw right bit, but they were a bit too optimistic elsewhere. But this is a new, so I can enter any time in a match and the current scoreline, and it will give me an idea based on form, not on AI's ideas, but on form. I've got it trained on form, but you have to do research of the match. So I'll do that with Djurgården and Malmo and see what we can come up with. Once this has all of its bugs cleaned out, I will find a way to get this to the website for you so you can research any match in any league. I've been running this through all sorts of weird and wonderful leagues, and it still comes up with some decent analysis. Although the Tottenham match today was apparently a cup match, so I didn't know that. Let's just go back. This means goals are coming in. Germans are a little quiet at the moment. Sigma Olomouc, 1.83 favourite at home, always will get my attention. 1.53 pre-match. Just instinctually, really. Have a good strike rate for us traders. Juve Stabia, pre-match favourite, 2.1. Could be a play at half-time, but we're not seeing much. 0.04 means they're not producing any chances of any merit at all, Spezia. So that, I suppose, gives you a little bit more of a glimpse into those one shots on, one shots off. They're not very good quality, are they? Bologna and Genoa, 2.05 the favourite. Mixed bag, these two. So I'm not too sure how to play that one. If I can't read it or anticipate, I can't trade. So simple as that. 1.4 favourite doing the business. That's what we expect. We can get rid of that one. Reggiana Catanzaro, 2.3 home favourite, but 1.36 XG, and I've already got the lead. So unlikely to get an interest, but 3 consecutive draws had me interested in this one in case Reggiana decided to turn up. Got a goal come in. That's the Reggiana who have decided to turn up. There we go, Mystic Meg. So I'll get rid of that one. Augsburg and Mainz, very difficult match to unpack. 2.6 the favourite. The market's already given you clues. Okay, so play it by ear. What I tend to do now with these matches is to have a bit of confidence that the in-play stats will be the gauge. This is telling you it's wide open, so you default to what's actually happening in play. The mighty Hoff and Bayern Munich would be expecting goal before half-time, so 20 minutes would be my opening port of call for this particular match. Both teams to score as possible with the mighty Hoff, who are in a pretty decent nick relative to seasons gone. They are doing all right. Bayern Munich are post-Champions League, so they might be a little fatigued and might have rested one of the big 3 up front. Werder Bremen and Freiburg. Werder Bremen had an excellent first half goals record so far. So again, you're waiting for the 20th minute for things to come alive. Hamburg and Heidenheim. Well, odds on favourite, 60,000 in the crowd. Unbelievable, Jeff. So we'll keep an eye. They're newly promoted, Hamburg, but this is more to their liking quality-wise. This could be what I term a redemption match, a chance for them to get a precious 3 points and the first win of the season for the newly promoted team. But as ever, they've always got a target on their back, being newly promoted. So we'll keep an eye through. Anything else? A little bit quiet elsewhere. Montpellier and Bastille were still waiting, but you can see 4 shots on 10 off and 8 corners. The Czech 1 league, 2.25 home favourite, part of Buche are a goal down. I suppose we can keep an eye out, but once you start heading down to these leagues, it starts getting a little dangerous. These are our odds-on favourites in Estac Trois. I hope you joined me in playing them a little bit earlier on. I didn't record it, sorry. But a good profit by the 29th minute. So that was excellent and a very emphatic end result. So these are our odds-on favourites. Waiting for the 3 o'clocks when the Avalanche will arrive. Birmingham and the Swans all down to the expected goals ratio there and the Liverpool win. These are all the odds-on favourites, as I say, 4 of them in the Championship. Watch out for the Premier League. It's got 3 other derby-style matches coming on, and they're difficult to read. So it doesn't look a very tradable league on paper, but you never know. English League One, we're getting some familiar names who seem to be permanently odds-on favourites. Wycombe Wanderers, for example. Plymouth and Peterborough, Huddersfield at home. So a lot of odds-on home favourites is good for trading. We'll see in play whether the market is accurate. Cambridge United, this was a missed trade for me, to be honest with you. Cambridge United absolutely dominating and a frustrating 0-1 down. I should have really played that. Absolutely bossed it. Mainz have taken the opening goal against Augsburg in a match which is difficult to read. Let's see what my app is saying about Malmo and Djurgården. Looking for XGs if they have it, 1.83. So aiming towards 2 goals. Malmo creating a lot of chances and keeping it tight at the back. But similarly, Djurgården 1.13 set up to frustrate. Now we can try the in-play just for a bit of fun. Be great if this was proved itself to be accurate, wouldn't it? So let's get the Malmo match up. No, it's not there. Okay. So let's get the in play. 44 minutes, so we'll call it 45 at 0-0. What were the expectations? So let's have a look. 45 minutes, we're there already. So let's see what statistically was expected. And I'll be adding some more prompts to this app to make sure that we can get even more accurate live scenario if it can include any in-play stats that it can find. over 1.5 goals. That's probably a good trade for the second half, isn't it? It's one of the ideas I came up with for over 2.5 goal trading. Back over 1.5 goals. If you get a goal between the 50th or 46th and 70th minute, cash out, you will make a profit. Well, a bold move for Malmo. There is reasoning here. Pre-match analysis highlighted their superior home form, stronger attacking metrics, Djurgården's slightly weaker away defensive record. Both teams to score, yes. So that's interesting as well. I would like that, particularly if Djurgården scored first. So we'll see how accurate or otherwise that is. I would agree with this myself. If you're just aiming at one goal, that will produce a trading profit, as long as it's scored nice and early. Gaius against Elfsborg, not really of any great interest there. So we're just really waiting for the 3 o'clock avalanche to come on with our German friends. A little goal shy at the moment, but Heidenheim are starting brightly against Hamburg. This is always something to watch out for against newly promoted sides. They do have that target on their back, don't they? Hope you're all okay over on YouTube and it's broadcasting okay. I'll just give it a quick refresh. Looks okay to me. Yeah, excellent. So you can see that Heidenheim and Hamburg. If that pressure continues, we might see a breakthrough before halftime. And don't forget, as I say, newly promoted sides could automatically be vulnerable against an established Bundesliga side, albeit one from the bottom half of the league. We're getting to that 20-minute mark soon, where if you're expecting goals, as we should do, then now is a good time to entertain the halftime markets once the 20 minutes is up. But we might have that fatigue from Bayern today. But the half, we just keep seeing goals before halftime and both teams to score. So that's what we're expecting. So moving on down, Ayop Sport, Turkish Yorkshireman. Not fancy today in the Super League. Just clean up a few of these. And there we go. Look, that's decent enough stats for a 2-0 lay. Keep your liability low so you won't be hurt if they don't oblige. Fredrikstad and Bryn. That's a bit of a slip up from the odds on home favourite there late on. Brighton and Tottenham. I've done full reports. So if you want the full with injuries, with expected goals, they're all here on the AII. Okay. That will give you a full update of the Premier League. Look out. Of course, we've got Thomas Frank post-Champions League question mark. Can he still juggle his first 11? Because he's not used to the Champions League from Brentford, is he? We've got another derby, our London derby, and we've got old Harry Potter in a spot of bother at home. Wolves and Leeds. This is a relegation 6-pointer for me already. Burnley and Nottingham Forest. Leeds are having trouble scoring away from home, aren't they? And if Wolves can score the 2 goals they did against Everton, that could be the difference here today. Burnley and Nottingham Forest. It's a watching brief for the new manager for Forest. We don't know the tactics for Forest. Certainly, if it was under Nuno Espirito Santo, there'd be a lot shorter favourite, that's for sure, in this particular match with Burnley. It's get a feeling Burnley will have to start winning or keep winning their home matches. Likely to be strangling the life out of Nottingham Forest today, Burnley, aren't they? Under Mr. Cardigan, their manager, Scott Cardigan Parker. English League One, we'll play this by ear via the in-play stats, via the odds-on favourites list. Automatically, Sheffield United don't look very good odds-on favourites with all those L's, do they? Charlton must be a little bit dodgy. So those are our matches. The main ones at 3 o'clock. We'll keep all of the Premier League ones up and running. And we're just waiting now while the Bundesliga remains a little quiet. So these are the matches I'm looking for. Again, look at that. That's heading to 1.55. Does that automatically suggest to us that we lay that draw second half? You can do the research, of course. Make sure these draws aren't 0-0s. There's only the one for Venezia coming away to Juve Stabia, but 2 score draws in a row away from home, albeit, but they have been scoring 2+ goals at home, albeit one in the Coppa Italia. Cesena are used to both teams scoring in 4 of their last 5 matches, so that could put that 0-0 vulnerable, but they did have a recent 0-0 at half-time in the Coppa Italia. I like to see, if I'm taking on those 0-0s, like to be seeing 100% over 0.5 at the top there, but lagging a little, 80% for the home side in the last 5 at home and 80% for the away side. That's crucial. We prefer it to be 100% when you're taking on these 0-0s, of course. But based on today, just the one shot on target. These shots off target must be registering something, unless this is just a quality single shot on target. So still yet to get my head around this completely. Malmo and Djurgården, what we can do, we've done our research already using AI. We can do it using Sarah Connor's friend, the human. So let's take a look at Malmo Djurgården. We'd be looking at any second half angles in this particular match. 0-0 at half time. So we'll just head off. Strange to hear the Germans so quiet, isn't it? Normally they're ding, ding, dinging all day long. So we'll just have a look. You can see good recent form for both. Only the 2 defeats for Malmo since the 11th of May. One of them coming at home. Djurgården, though, look to be tough to beat. Only 2 defeats for them since the 25th of May. So both sides in reasonable form. The 2 away defeats for Djurgården were only 1-0s. They have scored 7 goals in the last 2 matches, which is a real contrast to all of this. So they can ignite against the right team. Challenge table will tell us where they are and how they perform. Top 8, it's bitty, you'd have to say. Have the potential to score. Did get that win there, but very bitty. Playing 5th, they lost 1-0 to. Malmo struggle against the top 6, but outside only the 1 defeat, home and away against 7th and lowest. Pretty good form, isn't it? And consistent enough. Scoring as well in every single goal against the 7th and lower. And when you're looking at half time, home for the home side and away for the away side. So they are most vulnerable in the second half, Malmo. 7 out of the 9 goals conceded second half. And 59% modest, 59%. Conceding not, 64% in the second half for Djurgården. My jury's out for me. Just a single shot on target for both of these 2. So no strong idea there for me. 2.1 home favourite. Just wait to see if they're coming alive. UVA Stabia, because as ever, taking on odds on favourites means your liability is always very low. Bologna Genoa, we can take that through the app and see how accurate it will be. Bologna and Genoa. 0-0, 45 minutes. So we're going to do the research initially. I'll generate my prediction and then come back to it and give a half-time look. For me personally, I don't see anything suggesting laying that draw, although Bologna have not had a draw in the last 5 matches. So again, might have to do a little bit of old school here for Bologna. This is something the AI doesn't pick up. If it could take all of this info, it would be wonderful. Because then you can ask it the goal times, goal patterns, second half, and everything else. 0-0 at half time. Just want to see if there's any pattern of second half goals for any of these 2. It's a small group to work with. Well, that's the reason for 0-0s at half time, isn't it? 1-0. And we've had 3 0-0s at half time for Bologna. We've had 2 0-0s at half time for Genoa, one of them coming in second half. 53rd minute Roma, 59th minute and 61st. So they're within a cluster from the 50th to the 60th minute. That could be your entry point there. But I don't like this because it does flirt with 0-0, doesn't it, all the time. So no wonder it's unders. I'm not going to get too excited about taking that 0-0 on. it's one of those matches you'd back 0-0 pre-match if you had your wits about you and cash out at half time. Augsburg and Mainz, no strong opinion on this one. And it's 0-2 to Mainz, so I might have a better opinion if Augsburg are showing anything. Because as ever, 2.6 the favourite is a wide open match. It looks like it's a very efficient Mainz with just 2 shots, 2 goals. And you can see my confusion with XG, 0.27, but they scored 2 goals. So I don't understand fully how XG works. Hoff and Bayern Munich, as I've said, we're out of the 20-minute mark. Normally these two will be delivering goals before half time. Hoff and Bayern Munich, we can have a look. Hoffenheim and Bayern Munich half-time markets. So these are the most liquid. First half goal 0.5. So you're getting, having delayed, you're getting a little more value, aren't you, as it moves up like this, look. Value's in the eye of the beholder. They've got a really strong record for it. This is post-Champions League, so it wouldn't surprise me a little deflated Bayern Munich. This is even more value. And this is greater value still. So I would work my way backwards. Get these done first in case the goal comes. And you can keep your liability really low with these ones. Otherwise, well, you could lay the draw as late as possible. That could be another delay, couldn't it? If it remains 0-0, 30 minutes, that could be another secondary look. I would work my way backwards. Keep my liability as low as possible. Something like that. And graduate down with the profit. Most of your liability will be on the 1-0, which I would use personally to cover the liability here. So I'm looking for more than 1 goal. So I'm looking to win £8 here. As you can see, it really eats up the liability, doesn't it? Even playing at these odds. That's why I love these low liability plays, 2-0s, etc. You can see you're up to a tenner. So if we can get a goal, a single goal, we could be up and running. You could even leave this alone and just play the other 2 markets. The other market, half time. And you can see we're battling with a lack of liquidity here. Really bad. Half-time score, I do prefer. If Bayern Munich were dominating the match, I would go 0-1, 0-2, any unquoted. We had a couple of successes last week with that. So we can keep an eye on the odds. Starting to warm up. It'd be great if the Hoff scored first because that would help the neutral player, wouldn't it? But this does look like it's a post-Champions League hangover for Bayern Munich. Werder Bremen, not their usual selves today. Looks like Hamburg are responding to Heidenheim's early dominance. So this looks like a bit of a tussle, this one. So that draw could be vulnerable. These are the kind of teams they would be targeting 3 points against. Werder Bremen and Freiburg. Again, sod's law, of course, this will be the only weekend of the whole season where we don't see any goals before half-time in a Hoffenheim match. You can see Bayern Munich 3.75, 0-2 15s, any unquoted at 60s. But they're not showing enough dominance for me to look for a win to 0. I'm just looking at the patterns. I'm waiting and delaying and trying to get better odds. So, for example, here, how about that? You never know. They've got a record of goals before half-time. They could just ignite. All it could take is a card, a corner. A Freiburg opening goal would be good for the neutral player as well because the home side would have to respond. So look at the liability here for the return. Lovely. And you can work your way down like this. 15 minutes is still a long time to go. So it's getting far better odds here, aren't we? Just need that single goal. The way it works for me is that whenever I do get involved looking for goals before half time with these two, they don't turn up. Whenever I don't do it, they have a run of 20 or 30 with goals before half time. I don't have to win the whole. Oh, there we go. I was just about to play, just about to hit that. Is that a goal? Is it a red card? Is it handbags? Let's soon find out. Waiting patiently for a ding or a dong or something. Could be a red card. Waiting. No sound. So I don't know what's up, if it's a penalty or something. So just go live. If there's a pen, they will normally give a little red dot and just tell us if anything is occurring. No. So a ding has come in. That's Newport County in the duels. So that's an early goal for Newport County. So the way I'm going to be working with League One and League Two and the Championship is focusing mostly on odds-on favourites. So why was this suspended? No, I don't know. So we'll get back. It's a pity. Now it's permanently suspended, is it? So we're not having that, are we? Matches suspended where we can't trade. So just try some Premier League matches related to Werder Bremen, because we've had this quite often. Well, it looks as if it could be just isolated to one or two matches. So if anyone knows, audio's a bit low. Okay, thank you. I've got the mic on. Up here, okay for you? Let me know. I don't want to be messing around with all of that. So that should do the job for you, I hope. Nottingham Forest opener, and there's an opening goal for Freiburg against Werder Bremen. That's excellent. Why? Because now let's see how that has affected the 1.5 and 2.5, which I didn't get on. So this one, had I got on, that would have been break even on these two. So I can just leave these to run. Now we've got 15 minutes for the home side to look to respond. So that's brewing up nicely. Big gap between the back and the lay odds is a concern. Just got to tighten it up. But it's one of the more liquid halftime markets, as you can see, relative to the shambles that is the halftime score market ordinarily. Risk reward again, 3-1. I showed you a 2-1 risk reward earlier on. Put that to the right, 33 quid. That's 101. So it's all relative. It's a really good risk return, to be perfectly honest with you. That one again is heading towards a 2-1 risk return. So I'm set up nicely here. I would have preferred to have had just that fiver covered so I can have a risk-free play. But you can see again, you can cash out, take 9 there, take 12 out of the market there for a very small liability. We've got a lot of goals coming in. Is the microphone all right for you, Paul? Yeah, good stuff. Cheers. So we've got a lot of goals coming in, but for me, in the lower tiers, it's all down to whether they involve odds-on favourites. And if they do, they'll come popping up on this list here. These are all the odds-on favourites in the Championship, League One, League Two. That's my starting point. There we go, just like that. So that's not a trading match for me. It would be if Exeter scored first. I would investigate then. This is such a difficult league or to trust that you really have to try and go with odds-on favourites initially if you're going to have a trading day out of the lower tiers. So let's have a walk through my confusion with XG. I don't know what's going on. 2 goals for Mainz. Now it's popped up to 0.88. So their chances aren't the best, is what that's telling me, but they've converted them. I don't know. I'll have to do a bit more XG investigation. So possibilities of laying the draw second half, particularly with a 3-match draw sequence as well. But it's a play it by ear match, this one. I could show you what I would potentially do here in this Venezia match. You could lay over 0.5 goals. And then wipe out that liability. Or not wipe out, but just write it off. And then just sit on the match. Now, the longer that match stays at 0-0, the lower the draw odds. And the lower the draw odds, the bigger return for exactly the same stake of £20. So that's my idea. And at all stages, that 0-0 will be covered by this. Why aren't I doing £40? Well, that will be up to 15 quid liability. And if an early goal comes, that's a bit of a hit, isn't it? So £7.60. It's a relatively high odds as well for over 1.5 goals, which is a good indicator that we might see a bit more 0-0 out of this one. So I'll sit on this. If we get an early goal, I lose that liability. If it remains 0-0 late, I get pretty much a free low odds lay of the draw, and my only loss will be a score draw. So that's a decent play. If you can choose the right match, you want a nice tight match with very little occurring from a shots on target. Stevenage, Exeter, Utsington, Salford City, Burnley and Forest. Well, Burnley have already shot themselves in the foot. This is the problem playing for old Scott Cardigan Parker's 1-0. If you concede and concede early, you are done. An early goal for Brighton against post-Champions League Tottenham. I'll have to look out and see the reaction from the Spuds. Normally very, very defensively tight. Could be an angle in for us, but it is post-Champions League. This is new territory for Thomas Frank, isn't it? And Wolves have the opening goal against the Leeds, who failed to score in the last 2 away. Wolves, I did warn you, threatened those 2 goals against Everton. And this is a relegation 6-pointer yet in the Premier League. But keep an eye on Tottenham. I've liked what I've seen from Tottenham. I like their ultra-defensive mode. And there might be a way that we can take on this Brighton lead, not Birmingham lead. Looking at our odds-ons, just to make sure there hasn't been any down here. Just Stevenage at the moment and Newport against Gillingham. So what I'm going to do here now, we've got an odds-on favourite, a goal down. Bang. I'm going to head over here. English League 2. And now they're 2-0 down. So that's even more interesting. So we're going to go English League 2, Newport and Gillingham. So let's see if we can find English League 2, Newport and Gillingham. Come in, wherever you are. Hello. Newport and Gillingham. There we go. Okay. So now this is going to be on my watch list. We've got an odds-on favourite 2-0 down after 8 minutes. Now you could even go half-time market if you fancied that. So we'll look on this one with interest. Newport and the Gills. I'll get rid of some of these lower tier matches I don't need to be knowing about. The FA Trophy, I don't think it's tradable. I did pick it out as a competition because it said FA in it, but these, you won't be able to follow any of these matches on Betfair. So let's just sort that out. And that gets rid of any of them. So any dings I get will be only in matches I'm interested in. Like that, for example. 1-3. Then you investigate it. So we've got our first look at Newport and the Gills. What you can do, and we've got an opening goal for Leuven against newly promoted La Louvière. No real trading angle there. So just have a look at the goals as well. If one of them's an own goal, if one of them's a penalty, then treat that a little more suspect. We don't have full stats. We have decent enough stats for English League 2. So that will be of interest to me. What I'm looking for from Gillingham's perspective now will be for them to have shots inside the box, touches in the opposition box. I want them to see. I want to see an increase in clearances from the home side. And I want to see an increase in goalkeeper saves from the home side. It's all one-way traffic early on after 8 minutes. But this affords you a really good opportunity if you just wanted to play straight away. Well, it remained 1-0. It's not 2-0, is it? It says 2-0 here. So I'll remain with that 2-0. I'll give that some breathing space. Butcher have equalised, odds on favourite at home, but in the Czech 1 league. Do check out your odds on favourites at home, regardless of what league they're in, because they do have a good strike rate for the trader, insofar as they don't ordinarily lose, but they can draw. So the Czech 1 league down here, Butcher, could be one for the lay the draw now. They've got a goal back. Czech First League, here we go, Butcher. Pre-match 2.25, so not red hot favs. And looking at the stats, I wouldn't have looked for a goal there. So the dings you're hearing are goals as they arrive. And Sheffield Wednesday have the opener against Pompey. Is it an odds-on favourite match? I don't think it is. Yes, it is. So we'll keep an eye on this one. Portsmouth against Sheffield Wednesday. And there's that 1-3. I think somebody mentioned that earlier on in the under-21s. If it was live, ready this season. Newly promoted, taking the lead. Might they be vulnerable second half? We will see. So Pompey and Sheffield Wednesday, one to follow in the Championship. 1-0 for Newport, so 2-0 I would be very, very, very interested. 1-0, I'm just going to hold fire for a little bit. Let's have a look at Portsmouth and Sheffield Wednesday. Got an odds-on favourite at home, a goal down. Now, just got to wait for the in-play stats to come alive for Pompey. Unbeaten in 3 matches as well. The goals are flocking in. And we've got a goal before half-time, Bayern Munich and the Hoff. So let's see what that has done. You've got 2 options. You can delay. Wait as late as possible. The later you wait, the lower your risk. Now I've guaranteed myself £7.84 profit. That covers £5.29 liability here, so I can leave this to run. And it covers a £3 liability here. You never know. It could just go mental. It is the Hoff, after all. So I've got a risk-free punt on £22 and 60 quid. Just because I've got that single goal come in. So, well worth it, isn't it? These first half gold markets. These are the most liquid. So do use them if the other markets aren't performing. So yet again, Werder Bremen matches goals before half-time. Bayern Munich, goals before half-time. They just seem to do that week in and week out, and it's a really good angle. Particularly if, unlike me, you want to load up profit on the 1-0. You can do that with things like Fairbot, where you can set yourself, for example, a required profit. And then you can spread that profit across all outcomes, and thereby you'll actually make some decent money rather than trying to make some big money on the 0-2s later on, particularly there. So that's an option. You've got many options. It's dependent on how it fits with you. So let's take a walk through 3:15. Second half beginning, Venezia, and this will be an interesting one to show you. If we can get that 0-0, if this can remain as tight as it is now for a little bit longer, we're going to start seeing green screens appearing here. And no, my plans are scuppered by an early goal. That was always the danger. But are we stumbling onto the XGs being indicative of laying that draw second half? And that'll be Venezia. Okay, hopefully it won't. So we've got Cardiff and Bradford to look into, but we can just go here. Any odds on favourites will turn up at the bottom here. So you get your, there we go, Cardiff and Bradford. What we need to do now is to check out who the odds on favourite is and whether we've got a potential shock on the cards. We do. So just like that other match, 1.68 home favourite should be warm order. English League One. Let's bring that match up to monitor. English League One, Cardiff, who have started the season very brightly, haven't they? Got me a winning trade on the opening day of the season. So I could be quite warm towards Cardiff, but as ever, the in-play stats will reveal how they are on this particular day. Wickham against Northampton, 1-0. And again, it's an odds-on favourite match, and the odds-on favourite has scored first. We've got a red card, Port Vale and Mansfield. So I will be bringing that up. We want to see the reaction from Port Vale. You saw earlier on that red card in Girona match, quick reaction. So we want to see Port Vale Mansfield in English League and Mansfield. Just want to see if we can take that draw on. So we've got that one up there. 2.1 home favourite. And an equaliser for newly promoted La Louvière against Leuven. And there's that Cesena goal. What a pity. But have we learnt to more confidently take on second half draws when the XG combined at 0-0 is heading towards 1? It just means consistent, solid chances, doesn't it? And, well, that's proven it, hasn't it? But we've got a potential angle in now. Although I don't want to be fixating too much on Italian Serie B earlier on in the season when we've got the elites. Well, the AI said back over 1.5 goals second half. But this looks like a tussle between two very much informed sides. You saw it with Cardiff earlier on. Not Cardiff, Coventry and Leicester earlier on. I call these derby-style matches. They are very tough to unpack. MK Dons against Accrington. I think MK Dons are odds-on favourite today. So that will be of interest to us against Accrington Stanley, 1.45. So English League 2. We're building up some potential trades in the lower tiers. English League 2, MK Dons. Where are you? So we have, if you're basing it purely on the odds, you'd be getting involved immediately, wouldn't you? I don't know these leagues that well, so I'd give it a little bit of breathing space, and hopefully we'll see a reaction from the odds-on favourite at home to suggest enough to get involved. But we've seen nothing yet from Pompey, are we? What you can do, you could lay over 1.5 goals if you wanted to in these odds-on favourite matches right at the off. Get that insurance tucked in at its lowest point. And then you can wait and see whether these odds-on favourites are deserving of the quote. So we've got Cardiff, MK Dons and Portsmouth. So Cardiff, MK Dons and Portsmouth. So laying over 1.5 goals. You can lock it in. And if we get it a 0-1 for a while longer, you're going to get even better odds on Cardiff +1 or the match odds. So that's the Cardiff match. Port Vale was the other one, I believe. Against no, that was the red. That was the odds on. So the red card. Portsmouth, MK Dons, and Cardiff. So we'll have a look at. We've got Cardiff done. Portsmouth. So lay over 1.5 goals in the Portsmouth match. Just in case this becomes a trade, I've laid it at its lowest point. Cover that insurance. Why are they odds on at home? That's what I want to know. So we've got Portsmouth, we've got MK Dons and Cardiff to go. No, MK Dons next, isn't it? MK Dons against Accrington Stanley. So you've got your insurance in play. Oh, that one's done already. That'll be it. No. Equaliser for Burnley against Nottingham Forest. Wow, they definitely needed that goal because they are 1-0 merchants. Hull and Southampton. Southampton odds on today? Doesn't seem to be, do they? Don't seem to be. Hull and Southampton. No, 2.25 only today. So we've got our odds-ons waiting in the lower tiers. You can see why I'm cautious about these lower leagues. Just going to wait for them to wake up a little bit. Podebutche Slovako having got a goal back, the home side. Always worth keeping an eye on the match in case they ignite in front of home support. Start ending that draw. No draw in 5 away for Slovako. We can get rid of that match. I'm not following it, so I don't need the updates on that one. And Reggiano, I don't need the updates on that one either. So 1-1 Burnley and Forest. It's too tough for me to call with the new manager. I can't play it with the new manager. And there's that equaliser for the Gills. An odds-on favourite match, wasn't it? And that's why we do it. I think that was an odds-on favourite match. So new Malmo and Djurgården, still no action yet, but the best chances are falling to Malmo. This looks to me and feels to me like it's a derby-style match, doesn't it? Working our way down, Sigma Olomouc, 63 minutes in for a 1.53 home favourite at 0-0. Now, look, no draw in the last 5 for Sigma Olomouc. Only one draw in the last 5 for Teplice. Is that 0-0? Is that draw vulnerable second half? Odds on favourites tend to have a good record of not seeing 0-0s at the end, but we're not seeing any real shots on target. And it is one of the lower leagues, so I'd need something very compelling to have my money involved in there. Castellón, Cultural Leonese, that's Spanish Secunda. Augsburg, 1 shot on, 6 off and 3 corners. If you wanted to play, that's when you play. 2.6 the favourite. I don't have an angle in here at all. So Hoff and Bayern, probably not going to be an angle. The only value here is to actually lay Bayern Munich in the hope that the mighty Hoff will score draw, or at least score a goal. This is a possible play, or is it? Well, we'll wait and see the reaction for Werder Bremen. Bit unlucky not to have got my 1-0 done, because then I've got out of that with a break even. Hamburg, newly promoted, and having a good time against a side they would be eyeing 3 points against. But I do feel for them, or I feel concerned for them, because Heidenheim stats are pretty similar and they are excelling in the corner count. So I do feel a little concerned, but Hamburg were odds-on favourite pre-match at home, so the market did fancy them. The last time that Tottenham lost, it was a 1-0, wasn't it? They were completely undone stats-wise by Bournemouth. Not stats-wise, tactics-wise by Bournemouth. Very reminiscent of this. They went absolutely flat. But I like what I'm seeing from them this season. They are a tough side to score 2 goals against. But as ever with a new manager, you don't know how he's going to perform against Brighton. Similarly, we didn't know how he was going to perform against Bournemouth. And that was, he fell flat on his face. But they do have a good expected goals creation rate for chances. London derby, West Ham and Crystal Palace. Too many derbies in the Premiership today. Has to be a watching brief. Old Harry Potter's in a spot of bother. Have to wave his magic wand, get anything out of this one today. But as ever with London derbies, good things can happen. Crystal Palace have been in excellent form under Glasner. Very, very tough side to beat and score 2 goals against. So we wouldn't expect West Ham to suddenly be scoring 3 goals as they did against Forest today. Desperate struggles in London derbies for West Ham at home as well. 1-5 and a 0-3 defeat. An average concession, 4 goals a game. Coulter and Leonesa, any 0-2. Just check it out. If it was on my list, it would be here. So I don't need to check it out. Stevenage and Exeter, don't think that was a play. So we're working our way through our... no, we weren't. We were working our way down here, weren't we? Wolves and Leeds, a relegation 6-pointer already. Too tough for me to call. 2 sides in awful form. Burnley and Forest new manager syndrome makes this very, very tough to read. I'm not interested in trying to solve this puzzle until we know what type of a Postecoglou Forest we're going to be seeing. Is it going to be the mayhem of both teams to score? Tottenham 2+ goals. MK Dons, anything showing? Reacted really to that red card, brew up nicely. If it's 0-0 at half time, you could lay the draw second half. And if Port Vale score, you're going to be getting odds of about 10s to cash out of that draw. Portsmouth and Sheffield Wednesday, starting to warm up a little bit, Pompey, but a really good start for Sheffield Wednesday, who continue to dominate the first half, as you can see, with their momentum. Just the 1 shot on target to 6. 4 shots off target suggests a response to going a goal down. No corners as yet. The attacks were a little blunt. I haven't got involved yet. Just waiting for Pompey to warm up. And at Newport and the Gills, where we got that equaliser for the 1.85 favourite there. Elsewhere, well, newly promoted La Louvière have taken the lead against OH Leuven. I might just bring that match up, see whether they are gettable today. LEU. So let's check that one out. And bring the stats up as well. Derby and Preston. So Leuven would have been odds-on favourite for this match, or just about evens. So that's why I knew about this one beforehand. Just want to check out. Just like we've done with the other odds-on favourites from the lower tiers. Bring up their in-play stats. I can get rid of this one. In Belgium, and see whether they are gettable at any point. Newly promoted might have a mental issue about holding on to leads. That's what I'll be trying to exploit. And it could just be a lucky second goal as well for Leuven. You just never know. They do have a target on their backs. Afri looking like he's having an excellent day. We don't know head-to-heads because they were in the lower tier, so you won't have head-to-heads. So we'll wait and see if Leuven can react. We've got the in-play stats up now, looking for a reaction. Goals are coming in. Cardiff 0, Bradford 2. Now, this 0-2 has been plaguing me this past week. I've still got to try to solve the problem. The only way to solve it, for me, both teams to score, no. I tried Asian handicaps. I couldn't get that one to work. -2, -1.5. Maybe do the Asian handicap right at the start. I'm thinking aloud here. Now, this is a good entry point, given the season Cardiff have had, starting off with. And 2-0 to Brighton. So post-Champions League Tottenham, I'm glad I just held back a little bit. Leeds United have equalised in a relegation 6-pointer. That draw is going to be vulnerable. That draw is going to be vulnerable late on. So Brighton and Tottenham don't have a strong play post-Champions League. We'll have to wait and see. So Leuven and La Louvière. I've just got a feeling that this will be more competitive. So I've got it waiting up. Bradford and Cardiff, the 0-2. That's a good entry point now. So let's just investigate the stats here. 21 attacks to 14. Just looks like they've got an informed striker, Bradford, don't they? He's got the 2 goals. But this is a great entry point. If you're a little worried that odds-on favourite Cardiff can't continue their excellent start at home, then this is a great way to start. Both teams to score. No covers the 0-2 and the 1-2, as does this. But you can see we're fighting with a lack of liquidity. My other idea for covering the 0-2 would be Bradford minus 1.5, Bradford minus 2. That would make sense, wouldn't it? Maybe do that at the 0-1 rather than at the 0-2. So I'm trying to find it here. But again, this lacks liquidity, and that's at 2.35. So that's relatively high, isn't it? So it's a conundrum, this, both teams to score. No. The only other way to play is neutrally, isn't it? The only other way to play would be to be looking at 0-1 or at 0-2 at over 4.5 goals. Moving on 2 goals. So that, for me, could be the solution. Stevenage 1, Exeter 1. No major goals of interest there. So half an hour gone. We're just waiting on those English League 1, English League 2 matches to just warm up and see whether we've got an angle. We've created a better angle in. So we're getting even better odds if we can rely on Cardiff. Don't forget, because this will be without insurance. But it's so early in the match, it's very appealing. Or if you wanted to limit your liability even further, go into the half-time market. And I would be back in Cardiff as well. Odds of 10.5 ever again. I tried to get over 100 quid. So that's pretty big liability to have without insurance cover. But we will see how it progresses. And this is what cost me a losing weekend. Last weekend, I had so many of these on draws when I was waiting for the big wins. They just accumulate. So I'm waiting patiently on that one. It's a good entry point, isn't it, for a home side at 1.6 with a reputation for goals. So we will see how that one progresses. You'll note I haven't passed much on to Telegram yet. So that will give you a gauge as to the quality of the plays. Some of them are a bit more speculative, aren't they? Malmo warming up on the momentum scale, 71. Is that enough to give you an interest? What a pity I didn't lay over 0.5 goals at halftime in this match, because I would now be able to lay the draw at odds on. That would be excellent. Venezia are hinting at something with their 12 shots off target. But is it enough to have an interest here? 1, 2, 3, 4. Only 5 of them have come second half. So that just takes the gloss off that 12, doesn't it? A little bit. Malmo have hit the 1 expected goals ratio. Are you willing to take them on? Don't forget what AI said. Over 1.5 goals. Malmo to win. So we will see. And the goals are starting popping in. So interesting, isn't it? That XG, very, very high. And we're suddenly starting to see a whole load of goals coming in second half. So look out on this. Count, add them up at half time. If it's 0-0. And it will give us an idea, hopefully, of how many goals to expect second half. So this 0-0 at half time. Well, 0-0, you can see the goal attempts are very poor. A total of 0.5 expected goals. So that's in line with 0.5 expected goals, isn't it? This one, together, some very decent chances, but then so are Heidenheim. So add these up, I'd be expecting another goal in this match at the very least. Possibility of over 2.5 goals based on this. So we'll see how accurate I am second half and whether I'm barking up the wrong tree. West Ham and Crystal Palace. Palace take the lead in the London derby. Don't think we had an interest there, but it was expected, really. No shots on, 4 off 6 corners. It could be another bloodbath for Potter and co. So let's just walk through these. Warming up nicely, Malmo. We'll just see if they can deliver the win. 3.2. Sigma Olomouc, we've got an odds-on favourite, still at 0-0. Haven't reacted yet, really. Not showing much, but 3 of their shots on target out of 4 have come 64th minute onwards, which is a good sign. And 2 of them 68th minute onwards. So we might be seeing some late pressure from these two sides. So keep an eye on that draw, possibly ending for Sigma Olomouc. Bologna and Genoa, I don't have a strong opinion, but an odds-on, well, an evens favourite at home. Pretty similar with the shots on, shots off and corners, and the attacks. We might see something from Bologna. Second goal from Bayern Munich. Has that come before half-time? Because if it has, I don't think it has it? 2:30, 3:15. No, 48 second half. What a pity. We can get rid of that match now. Although, if you wanted to lay Bayern Munich now, in the hope that you get both teams to score, then now is a good time to do it. We'll just return to the odds-on favourites here, so I can keep an eye on them. And you can hear the dings, the goals are popping in. Volendam, Excelsior and Leeds have taken the lead against Wolves. I was looking to lay that draw very, very late on in that relegation 6-pointer. So you can see here, 1.03 plus 0.2. So we're expecting 1 goal only. So no wonder it's a tough under 0.5 goal match at the moment. Not expecting a goal from Djurgården at 0.2. Sigma Olomouc warming up. Warming up nicely. I've just got an inkling that Bologna might be competitive second half. Oh, well, no, 72nd minute. So this might be one for the late play. They can just keep that momentum rising as we get later into the match. Augsburg and Mainz. Well, if you're going to take Mainz on, it's going to be at 1.09. But I don't have an angle in here. Bayern Munich doing the job, but interesting. If that's their odds, that's 2-0 up. That's suggestive of a little bit extra. Bologna. I told you to equalise a little bit later on. Real Madrid already 23 minutes in, opening up against Espanyol. So that Bologna match, what a pity. You just had that inkling, didn't you? That it was very tight and similar. That would have been a very nice lay of that draw, as you can see, at 1.73. Augsburg and Mainz, I think I'll take that off the watch list. I don't have an opinion. Just mentioning that Bayern's odds look off to me. So let's have a look. 1.2, 2-0 up away from home. Look far too short. That's more like it. Yeah. There we go. That's much more like it. Yeah. I'm not going to be laying Bayern because I don't expect Hoff to be scoring 2 goals, although both teams to score is possible. Werder Bremen, you can keep an eye on this one. They are at home, but 2.4 the favourite. Not sure. 0.16. Same as Djurgården. Really poor chances, and that's why they're not scoring. Okay, so that's not suggestive of an equaliser from Werder Bremen at the moment. And work our way down. I just have the inkling that Hamburg might be gettable. As I say, we're expecting that second goal to come. Nearly heading to 2.5 between these two. We've already got one of the goals come in, so we're expecting that second goal to come. I just get the impression that, well, with a few more corners, 7 of them first half, so I've got to wait for a bit more action from Heidenheim. Just get the impression that Hamburg might be there for the taking at some point. And I was just going to mention Brighton 2-0 up as well. 4 shots off 4 corners, but it's just bad timing for me. That 1.14, what an excellent entry point that would have been. Oh, my timing just off there. Just going to mention it. 4 shots off 4 corners, 42 attacks to 8. 1.14, not too shabby. The value is dissipated now, which is a pity. But we might get that equaliser yet. Now they've got their foot under the door, Tottenham. We just need to, early on, gauge whether they're up for it post-Champions League. Don't have an opinion, Wolves and Leeds, I'm afraid. Similar story here, but you might see Nottingham Forest start doing the Ange Postecoglou show, where they start scoring 2+ goals. So that draw could be gettable second half, certainly. He's yet to show any decent stuff in his 2 matches in front of home support. So this is a vital must-win against a newly promoted side who are likely to stall at the single goal, aren't they? Cardiff, 2 shots on 3 off and 2 corners, but the better attacks or the better chances have gone to Bradford, and they have converted, haven't they? You can see that there. Very tight match, suggesting that we might expecting, well, 1.7 plus 8, 2.5. So expecting another goal, perhaps. 0.78 is looking okay for Cardiff. Home advantage, half-time team talk, and we might be up for a bit of fun second half from Nottingham Forest. I think they can continue this pressure up. Cardiff and Bradford, just waiting for Cardiff to come alive and show the form. 1.8, you can see these, quite a few of these 1.8, 1.95s are very ropey favourites. I don't think they're very good for trading at those kind of odds. They could do or they couldn't do. With lower odds at home, you get far more better strike rate. MK Dons, we're waiting for a half-time team talk to get them up and running so we can start to play second half. You can see by delaying, we will have actually made a profit by laying over 0.5 goals, over 1.5 goals. But it's very, very quiet. And again, same as Djurgården. Not very good attacking stats, are they? XG stats, 0.13, suggesting they're not putting it together today just yet. And 1-3 to Leeds. Wow. Wolves are in a spot of bother. Relegation fodder, I think, or get rid of that new manager because he's not working. Possibility of laying that draw second half now. Look at Port Vale's reaction. 3 shots on 5 off and 2 corners. 34 attacks to 7. So that draw could be layable second half there. Like that, 8 shots off target, but 7 shots in total. No wonder Sheffield Wednesday have the lead, and they're going to have to tighten that up in the second half. I'm hoping for that half-time team talk again to remind Pompey they are playing at home in front of home support. It's a good entry point, and particularly 0-2. Particularly 0-2, home or away. I wouldn't be laying at La Louvière just yet. You can see again, 0.13, 0.16. Really poor chances created from OH Leuven. at the moment. Ross County, newly relegated, I think, aren't they, to the Championship? St Johnstone were a great play on Friday if you got involved with them. Come from behind. Just clean up a few of these. And wait for the goals to come in. Red card for the Elf. Got a goal back from Venezia. So, bang. What did I say? Second half. Adding up the XGs. And what have we got? Over 2.5 goals second half. So, is that a trading angle now? Look at these. Add these up. 9 and 8, 1.7 and 1.82. And we've got 3 goals. So, could be something, particularly these nil-nils at half time. If we add up the XGs for nil-nils at half time, might give us an idea for the second half. So you can see the chances generated by Port Vale are pretty poor, aren't they? 0.44. There's no chances generated at all by Mansfield. So that will need improving in the second half. Improve the quality of their chances. Similar story for Portsmouth as well. Let's have a look through our odds-on favourites. See if I'm missing anything. Sigma Olomouc. Well, you could lay the late draw if you wanted at 1.09 and 1.06. I did that earlier on in the Birmingham match, and I just missed out by a whisker on the winning goal. Championship, Ipswich 0-0 at half time. Again, we can check the in-play stats or the XGs for these, particularly odds on favourite matches. Portsmouth, we're waiting on them for the second half. Half-time team talk to hopefully get some bluster out of them. Similar story with Cardiff. Half-time team talk for them. Need to score the first goal second half for us to have an angle in. Wow. If you laid that late draw, Malmo 0, Djurgården 1. Wow. Well, we were expecting a goal, weren't we? We weren't expecting it to be scored by Malmo. So let me just see if I'm going to do one of my speculative late plays here, looking for a late equaliser. Laying over 1.5 goals is going to be relatively high, but Malmo +1 will be relatively high as well. Well, maybe not. So just waiting here, I think could be a lay at Djurgården, but they live on their defence. Hamburg have made it 2-0 against Heidenheim, and that could be an angle in. Yet again, adding these XGs, we're expecting 3 goals now, 1.48, 1.43. Round it up to 1.5 each. That'll be 3s. Already got a 2-0 lead, have we, for Hamburg? Looks like we do. As a newly promoted side at home against a fellow relegation threatened side who've been posting very similar shots, and with half an hour to go, I'm going to be laying Hamburg. I think they're going to be a little worried. I've lost my arrow. There it is. So let me get this Hamburg matchup. If the odds are short enough, yes, definitely laying. Based on the fact I expect this to be a relegation 6-pointer, so I expect a reaction from Heidenheim, who've already posted really solid in-play stats already. Already posted a really solid expected goals ratio, similar to Hamburgers. We've also got a newly promoted side who might be a little concerned about seeing the game out. I'm also going to be backing Heidenheim in case we get a very quick 2-1 at 100s. I'll pass this on to Telegrammers, I think. Live stream at the moment. Hamburg 2, Heidenheim 0. I'll be laying Hamburg at 1.07. Heidenheim have been posting excellent stats. Very similar expected goals. 1.07 lay with half an hour to go for a newly promoted side. Well worth doing. Liability very low. So you can see that. It's just got the feeling of a relegation 6-pointer to me. So that means I think Heidenheim are going to be in trouble. Bradford's second goal was a penalty, says Stephen. Thank you for that, Stephen. I'm already involved, I think, with Cardiff. So that adds a little bit of confidence to that one. So we'll keep an eye on that. If you wanted to lay Djurgården as late as possible, by all means do. It was Malmo who were the side who you expected to score the goal. But this is typical of a derby-style match, which I call it. Two sides in very good form. You can't really split them. Pardubice having a late go for a win, but I don't think they'll cross the line. Sigma Olomouc, 1.53. Last shot on target from 12 minutes ago. We'll see. I won't be bothering with that one. Bologna had the goal back against Genoa. Didn't get to that one in time. And an awful day for Werder Bremen. But 2.4 the favourite does remind you the scorelines can be absolutely wide open for those 2.4 plus the favourites. The market's giving you clues. Hamburg and Heidenheim, you can see Heidenheim stats are pretty good, aren't they? Not the stats of a side deserving to be 2-0 down. Both sides of a similar level, both sides relegation threatened. I will expect a reaction with a half hour to go. I expect potential nervousness from Hamburg, yet to win a match this season. But this is a good match, I did mention. It's a possible redemption match, isn't it? Odds on at home against a struggler. You could possibly get your first win of the season. And indeed, that's proven the case. Just missed this by a whisker, this 2-0. I think Brighton are going to be vulnerable second half. Tottenham will very rarely concede that second goal as well. Goal back for Werder Bremen. There we go. Or has it been disallowed? So is that a shot across the bow to take on Freiburg? I've got rid of the stats already, but that could be interesting. Certainly, I think Brighton could be gettable second half, but it's very difficult taking on Premier League sides with home advantage against a new manager, because you saw that loss, I think, to Bournemouth, just outdone tactically. Tottenham kept very, very quiet, but in this case, they've not been kept a lid on, have they? So they could pay the price. That is of interest to me. And Nottingham Forest potential dominance second half against Burnley. But again, new manager syndrome. It's very difficult to read Nottingham Forest under Ange Postecoglou. Second goal of penalty, says Stephen. So that adds our confidence to the possibility of Cardiff coming back into this again. Expecting a goal from them at some point. Bradford are delivering on their promise, aren't they? Gaias, okay. Port Vale, possibility of laying the draw second half. We'll have a look at that now. So if you lay the draw here, if Port Vale score, and for me it would be a full liability lay. So if you had that £500 betting bank, it would be £25. I've got a couple of options here. You can leave it to run, and you'll find that over the course of a season, the losses and will be outweighed by the profits. You could lay over 0.5 goals, sit on that. And if it remains 0-0 for a while, then you can get involved. I'm going to get involved straight away. I've got the reaction that I seek. It's one-way traffic, momentum-wise. 4 shots on, 7 off 3 corners, 41 attacks to 7. That's the kind of reaction you want to see to going a man down or going a man up. So I'm going to leave this as it is. Another option, you can wait for a third of liability as loss and use the grid for that. I don't use the grid here, use the ladder for that. I used to be able to do this. It will tell you your £13 loss, which is a third of liability. So you cash out when the draw gets to 1.88. 1.88 will be your cash out for a third of liability as loss. That way you'll get 2/3 of your liability back. If it remains 0-0, it might just be one of those days, Port Vale, Mr. Magoo up front, that kind of thing. So I'm going to lay that draw. I like what I'm seeing here. I like what I'm seeing from Spuds as well. I think Brighton could be vulnerable second half. But it is post-Champions League, which does make it very difficult to read. Waiting for the reaction from MK Dons and Pompey to the half-time team talks. And if those reactions are good, the reaction at the end of the first half was good from Pompey. You saw that rise in the momentum there. MK Dons just flat, absolutely flat as a pancake. So very difficult to trust them. Just while it's half-time, I'm going to do a little bit of this, get a bit of a drink as well, and then pop back for the second half. So it's been a quiet one trading wise. I got Estac in earlier on, but I'm quite happy to be patient. As I say, I made a loss last weekend, largely because too many trades, too many draws not turning into wins, too many 11, 12 pound losses accumulating throughout. Real Madrid doing the job against Espanyol, absolutely no surprise there. So I'll clean up a few of these. Dundee and Livingston 1-0 to Dundee. It's been a very good league, the SPL, I must say. Been very tradable this year, but largely for odds-on favourites, it's been tradable. There's no odds-on favourites today. The lower tiers in Scotland, alas. Great stats. Look really tradable, don't they? Potentially readable, but they're woefully lacking in liquidity on Betfair, which is a real problem. Aberdeen and Motherwell 2.25 the favourite, not top of my list, but we've got a 1.75 home favourite, the Dons. Far too many Ds for Motherwell. If they are score draws, then we could lay that draw second half. But a couple of 0-0s, one in the cup, one against St Mirren, and 0-0 and a 0-1 in the last two SPL matches for Aberdeen. That's not a good sign to take on that 0-0 second half, is it? Don't fancy that much. Newly relegated Ross County could see an end to that draw. They desperately need to get out of the lower tier. We'll just clean up a few of these. Under 21s, under 19s, all lacking liquidity. Nacional and Aruca to Primera Liga. It's worthy of my attention, particularly if they continue along this route. Nacional. Santa Clara have been involved in Europe, odds on favourite at home and a 1-1. Just keep an eye on that one as well. Clean up a few of these and off we go. Elite Serien. Brown have already got the lead, so they are, and have got a red card involved, and we've got a team already having taken advantage of the red. I will follow Lillestrøm. Well, they are leading already, so I won't follow Lillestrøm today. They're the only real side to follow in the first division. Highly likely to go unbeaten this season. Great example to you of following a newly relegated side into the lower tiers and then absolutely bossing the league. So we're getting rid of a few of these. Serie B, no interest at the moment. So I'm only doing this because it's half time. You're not missing any action. As soon as we get the matches back on, I can just clean up a bit of this in the meantime and come across some matches I might not have been focusing on. Aris Thessaloniki, for example, in the Greek Super League, odds on away from home, worthy of my attention. Werder Bremen did just have a shot across the bow, so I might be laying Freiburg. It's becoming a very speculative day today, isn't it? Laying a lot of 0-2s. But we just had that possible goal in the back of the net for Werder Bremen. And if the odds are short enough, it's going to cost you nothing to find out. Have I missed the opportunity? No, I haven't. So it's yet another 107. It's good value for me. 20 minutes to go. Home side 0-2 down. Very good value. 2.6 the favourite as well. So I'm happy to be laying. Particularly the liability is nothing to worry about. You can leave this to run. If we can get that 1-2 from Werder Bremen before the 80th minute, that's going to start moving the odds. Hope you're all okay. Braden missing a penalty, Bosun. That's the suspend I heard earlier on. Oh, man. Hopefully that will give them the shot in the arm to get a goal from open play. So I'll get rid of a few more of these. French League Nantes against Rennes. That would be worth looking at. Finnish Cup is a clash of the big two, HJK and KUPS. Likely to see both teams to score. West Ham and Palace, no strong play there. The team I fancied getting the opening goal. Wolves and Leeds. Well, I am reminded that Leeds are newly promoted. Is this another 1.07 lay? We don't need any of these lower tiers. Just can't be traded, alas. I see Jersey are playing in the cup today, getting an absolute hammering. I'm from Guernsey, so always got an interest in watching the Crappos getting beaten. So I'll just get rid of a few of these. National League lacking liquidity, which is a problem. Some familiar names in it. League Two. Well, we're going to get our cues from the odds on, so let's have a look at these. Odds on favourites. Well, Sturm Graz opening up against Red Bull Salzburg. That could be a potential play. But this is not the Red Bull of old. They've been huffing and puffing a little bit of late. So I wouldn't be rushing in just yet. We've got a 0-0 Blackburn against Ipswich. So let me find this match if I can. I'll just clear up a few of these. Blackburn and Ipswich. You can see some decent stats and a 1.3 expected goals from Werder Bremen. We're expecting a goal from them, but it's all about the timing if you're taking on that 0-2. You want that goal to come on the average between 70 and 90. So you've got the market thinks another 10 minutes to score a second goal, while you lay at short odds just in case the away side don't ignite. And they haven't second half, have they? Just the 2 shots on target, 3 shots off target, and just the 2 corners. So that's why you lay at 1.07. They looked as if they could, but they haven't done. We're expecting a lot more goals in this match. Really. We're expecting anything up to 4. How about 3? Werder Bremen and Freiburg. That's bye-bye to any interest in a recovery there. Brighton and Tottenham waiting for, well, am I going to take on Brighton? Let's just have a look. We don't have enough matches, you see. That's the problem. November, we'll have 8 or 9 under our belts, and I can be a lot more confident about a Brighton at home versus a Tottenham away. We'll have many more Brighton home matches under the belt, many more Tottenham away matches under the belt, and I'll be able to make a stronger argument. But at the moment, very, very limited in creating any conclusions out of this match based on 2 home matches. Both teams did score. Brighton did lead in both matches. No, they didn't. They didn't lead in the Man City match. They haven't scored more than 2 goals this season. So are Tottenham going to keep them quiet? Tottenham haven't conceded more than a goal this season. So it'll fall under very speculative one. Ipswich Town red card against Blackburn Rovers. Ipswich Town odds-on favourites as well. Portsmouth and Sheffield Wednesday. Thankfully, all I've lost is my insurance here now. Talk about coming straight out at half-time. MK Dons got the equaliser straight away at half-time, so they didn't give me a chance to play at all. So it's just the Cardiff one remaining now of our odds-ons. Bologna have made it 2-1. Great come from behind there. So we can clear up a few of these. I'm just tempted to take on Brighton. I know it's not a good idea with this new manager, Frank. But they do look a tough team to score 2 against. And it's post-Champions League. So it's all sorts of potential concerns for me here. But this is how I would do it. I would lay over 3.5 goals and hope that Tottenham would score the next goal. Tottenham +1. If it's significantly higher than 1.24, which it should be because they are away, I could quite happily stay here. And this is a warning sign that this is a potential losing play. These odds are very, very high for this market. Confidence in this market is normally 1.8 and lower. So you file this under, I might lose all me dough trade this one, okay? 0-3 to Bayern Munich. Job done for them. Wrexham a goal back against Norwich. And the London derby is 1-1. I don't play derbies, I'm afraid, because they are so unreadable. Hopefully this momentum is continuing from the first half into the second half. 3 shots on target, very well spread, apart from the last one, which was a 6-minute break, 5-minute break. Hopefully the defensive bent of Tottenham can see it stay at 2-1 for long enough for them to get a goal. But don't forget, this is a very difficult one to trust. 2.2 home favourite, 3.1 away favourite we're trusting to score. So don't forget that. Wolves and Leeds, there's a potential to take Leeds on here. Have I done so already? So let's have a look. Potential to take Leeds on. Wolves, I'm just reminded that this is a relegation 6-pointer and their goals against Everton. So I'll wait on that one. Wow. Cardiff 0, Bradford 3. I'm going to top up. It's already a low enough liability. So I'm going to top up because I got involved at 0-2. So you're guaranteed low liability. I'm going to top up in case we get a 2-1 to Cardiff. So it's turning into a bit of a speculative Saturday, this one, isn't it? So just, you don't have to top up with much, even if it's £2. Look at the impact £2 will have, particularly if this becomes 1-3 and 2-3. So let's just show you. Plenty of time to go. Ah, suspended market. Plenty of time to go in the second half. Just waiting to see if that was a disallowed goal from Cardiff. From Bradford, sorry. So £2 liability. It's going to add an extra 40 odd quid to this and this. Boom. And a cheeky little £1 back at 60s in case we get a 1-3, 2-3. So it's a great entry point, 0-3. Still early enough in the second half. We'd know one of those goals was a penalty. We just need to see. There we go. One penalty there. Sarovic. Neufeld getting the goal in the 49th minute. So we'll wait and see whether Cardiff can turn up. 1.11, we're expecting a goal from them. 7 shots on target, 7 shots on goal, only 2 on target in the first half. 7 shots inside the box, that's good. I like that. 14 touches in the opposition box, similar to the opponent. Hit the woodwork, no, 0-0. Clearances 18-7, so they've been under the cosh, haven't they, Cardiff? Goalkeeper saves, we're waiting for them to 2 saves from their keeper. Need to just get a few more from the Bradford keeper. So if Cardiff can generate them, get a goal early enough, then we'll be up and running. Oh, I'm so tempted. I've done it already, haven't I? So you notice I didn't pass it on to Telegram, that Tottenham one. It's risk-filled. Leeds at 1.11. Just very tempting to lay. Let's just remind ourselves whether I'm a bit deluded about Wolverhampton's goal-scoring abilities. And the mighty Hoff. I told you both teams to score. It's a banker for the mighty Hoff. Goals before half-time and both teams to score. Bang on the button for Hoffenheim. So let's have a look at Wolves. It's just that Everton match I'm clinging to. And that was in the last home match. Yes, they are missing Strand Larsen as well, so maybe I'm not going to be getting involved. Missing Strand Larsen today, Wolves. But if you are to get involved, lay at 106. Looking at the possibility of Nottingham Forest dominating this match second half against a newly promoted Burnley. This could be the usual defensive display from Burnley. Got a suspended market, so one of our matches of interest has suspended. And lovely jubbly, 53rd minute. Now, notice you could make a trading system just out of this, really. I'm sure the strike rate is exceptional. Laying the draw in a red-carded match when the home team stats are suggesting they've taken advantage of the extra man. It's a logical play, isn't it? And you can cash out now. You can see 3.25 lay, 8.8 back. Wait for this to just tighten up a little bit, of course, as well. Or you could leave it and assume. But traders and assumptions don't work. You don't assume in this game at all. You anticipate. I'm anticipating a Port Vale win now they've got their noses ahead. So I could hold out for 17. I could lock it in. Make sure that 40 quid is back in the bank. So watch out for red cards. 0-0s at half-time and red cards. It's a very good trading angle. Nothing doing with any of those matches. I'm probably going to get rid of these Scottish ones. Apart from Ross County, because they're newly relegated. So they could give us an angle in. So not showing anything from the first half just yet. They haven't added any stats after the first 5 minutes. Well, just one corner only. But I just got the feeling that Tottenham can keep Brighton very quiet indeed. So we will see. Wrexham are up and scoring again. I do prefer taking on a Wrexham lead myself. Get rid of that one. Just waiting for Burnley to ignite. Nottingham Forest to ignite. I just got that feeling. Burnley's goals, they're just not there, are they? That second goal. They are. It's going to be 1-0 or nothing at all, you fear. MK Dons didn't get that goal. I thought it popped up here, 1-1. MK Dons, I could have sworn I saw that there. So do we have a stats feed issue here? If we do. Oh, Strand Larsen came in the second half, Andy. Sorry. My AI told me he was out injured and Huan Li Chan would be the main boy. So thank you for correcting that. I'll have to make sure AI double checks yet again. Not going to be playing this one here. So Just not warming up yet, but nothing has shown yet either from Brighton's second half. I've taken a punt on that. It might be completely wrong. We will see. So work our way down. MK Dons and Accrington Stanley. We'll soon see who's right here. MK Dons, if they're, well, it's 2.38. It's not a lead. So now Soccer 24 is wrong. I hope that's just an aberration. Have MK Dons turned up second half? Well, they haven't really, have they? It's been a bit of a snooze fest, as you can see. Or has the half started yet? Or are we having stats feed issues? That would be a bit of a mess. So I'll have to default to here. Have a look for MK Dons. Already made it 1-1. Yeah, that was the trade. Missed it already. What a pity. So I can get rid of that. That's showing 0-1, which I would love. So this might not be up to date. Let me just check. Portsmouth 0-2 against Sheffield United. 0-1 it says here. So, are you lot having trouble with your feed? Let me know. Because this makes life a little more difficult for me. We're getting the wrong correct scores on the Diana doors. Hamburg make it 2-0. Didn't get that late equaliser. And a 1-3, we can get rid of all of those. So I'll have to keep an eye on these scores because Soccer 24 is correct, but this one is wrong. Yeah. So I'm going to have to use these stats here. Just going to add to the hassle. Hopefully they get this sorted out. Richarlison getting the goal. Good stuff. Let's have a look at the second half stats. I don't know how frequently these are updated, but well, not expecting a goal second half just yet from these two on the hour mark. 71% ball possession for the Spuds, but they're not creating any chances. But 3 corner kicks second half is a positive note. 3 touches in the opponent's box, which is always good with Richarlison in your side. So this is disappointing that the feed can't be relied upon today. I should really have a secondary feed now. I'm doing this more often, and that's something soccerstats.net will probably be best for that. So I'm pretty much trading blind now, which is a pity. Let me see if I can get soccerstats.net trial up. We need in-play stats. We must have in-play stats. Is it soccerscanner.net? I haven't been there for so long. So let's see if I can start my 2-day trial. That would be excellent. This will just be a backup for me. It seems to be a different scanner. So sign up using PayPal. I don't want to sign up using PayPal. No. Not going to do that. So I'm going to have to go old school. Sorry about this. I can't legislate for this. Let me know if your stat scanner is down. Yeah, soccer scanner as well, says Michael. So that's not going to be an aid. Gordon says the wrong scores are here as well. So I'm going to have to take my score lines from here and from here. Take my stats from here. So it's just one of those issues. They are not that frequent, so don't be worried. It's not a regular occurrence. So you can see the benefit of stats feed though, can't you? It's all on the one page. Now I have to fart about going in here, going to here, going to the second half, trying to decipher. Well, no shots on or off target. I think there might be an issue. No, unless this is a very, very quiet second half. What I would be looking at would be a Leuven response, but I can't see that, you know, with I would prefer to see the momentum graph and everything else. So I might have to pull the plug on this live stream, which is a pity. Red Bull Salzburg red card, and again, we'd do what we did with Port Vale, and that would be to look at the Sturm Graz reaction and then maybe lay the draw in that. But we've got a strong favourite red carded. They don't always automatically lose. Goal back from Heidenheim, but they could have done that at 1-0. I would have preferred that. So we'll have to bear with this. If I can't get you a trade, it's not very good viewing, is it? So me going and trying to suss out matches. And it's just spoiled the whole momentum of it as well. So let's just go through. My focus now will have to be on odds-on favourites. So I will be going into the My Games here and keeping an eye on the scores as they come in. So we can get rid of this 2-0 for Real Madrid. Get rid of that Dundee United match as well. So nothing much I can do about this. Just make sure, keep track of the scores coming in. And the odds-on favourites. So red card for Ipswich. Blackburn have already done the business. So we don't have to follow that one anymore. Interesting that Wrexham have come from behind to make it 1-3. Don't think I'll be playing that. And Portsmouth. This is where an in-play stats feed would be so helpful to see the reaction. Because it's only a 50th minute goal. Plenty of time to come back into this. This is the second half stats, 6 shots to 2. Only the 1 shot on target. Go down to the goalkeeping saves, just the 1 second half. 9 clearances, okay, not double figures. Touches in the opposition box, double figures, that's good. Big chances too though. And that's just in the second half. So that's a concern for Portsmouth. So you can see this is not ideal, is it, in measuring a team. You need in-play stats that will continue. West Ham and Palace, London derby, not going to be playing, I'm afraid. So I will leave that to you if you're going to play it or not. Sheffield United and Charlton, again, I don't have the in-play stats to see if Charlton are performing, because I thought Sheffield United would be far too skinny at those odds. Cardiff and Bradford City, well, they just haven't turned up, have they, today? Odds on favourite Doncaster, we can ignore that one. Huddersfield haven't scored yet. This is where the feed would come in. I'd have all of these matches waiting and looking to look at the momentum for these type of sides. Moving on down, MK Dons have already got the equaliser, but they're far too quick out of the blocks, weren't they? That was a real pity. Well, are we going to get a Heidenheim 2-2 late on? That would be very nice indeed. Got it about right. And the XGs are working, aren't they? So that could be a really good addition to helping us anticipate any next goal. And I think I could be anticipating the end to a live stream, I'm afraid. So I'm sorry about this. This isn't proper working conditions to provide you proper trading. I do need, implicitly need an in-play stats feed in order to get the wheat from the chaff. So sorry about this. I'm going to bid you a good day, and I hopefully, if I can do a live stream tomorrow, depending on the matches, it's been a difficult Sunday. If I can do a live stream tomorrow, I will. But in the meantime, I'll say goodbye to you early on. There's nothing I can really do to help. Have a great day, and I will see you on Telegram if there's something I can pass on.